I'm so excited to dive into two favorite topics of mine in science, coevolution and shitting on dinosaurs. Yes. Oh no! Yes. Dinos, by the way, are too freaking popular. All right, they're the NASA, the SpaceX launches of dead things. All right, too much PR. They get tons of books, movies, franchises, toys annually for what? Being oil and contributing to climate change? Yeah, okay. And by the way, they get way too much hype, guys. It's chicken. Okay. Chickens are dinosaurs. Just because you spend 10 minutes with it doesn't make you an astronaut or a paleontologist, Katy Perry. Okay. So it is with great excitement that I get to share what little I remember about dinosaurs from being in grad school with thirsty as fuck paleontologists by celebrating what dinos did best, going extinct. Yay!
We all should be happy.
We should. I will caveat this, you guys, by saying that it is Asian American Heritage Month. Yes. Which means I have to give respect to avian dinosaurs, the survivors, all right? Because without avian dinosaurs, there would be no Jollibee. One of the greatest Filipino exports to America and the world, only second to Filipino nurses. Yay, clap it up. It's our month. It's our month, yes. But I super digress. The show is about flowers. So back to those weakling non-avian dinosaurs that died off when a mere asteroid slammed into the Yucatan Peninsula 66 million years ago. Thanks to them dying, the cutest of the evolutionary meet-cutes happened. Late Cretaceous small-bodied mammals, yes, and sexy, succulent, thick and juicy flowering plants, aka angiosperms, that's what she said, found each other and thrived. Someone please call Rihanna. What? Because they found love in a hopeless place. Yes. Angiosperms, these are, the plants with flowers and fruit. So they derive from the Greek words for container, vessel, and sperm. No translation needed. Yes. In the late Cretaceous and Mesozoic and into the Cenozoic, angiosperms offered hungry omnivores and some of the first fully herbivorous mammals so much food and energy than before. And in return, scrappy mammals with those apple-bottom booties, boots with the fur. With the fur. Thank you. Offered flowers and their fruits the whole ride to evolve. And as they ate these new plants, mammals pooped their seeds all over the damn place, helping the plants to spread far and wide. And that's what I loved about the evolutionary story of flowering plants. Their win was our win. Angiosperms were like the Kris Jenner to the Kardashian of mammals and the Jenners of all pollinators. You guys, like the Kardashian Jenners, flowering plants, mammals and other pollinators were plucked out of obscurity, co-evolved and thrived into late-stage capitalism of the Cenozoic. Yes. Now, if someone were to rewatch this, they'd totally probably think I was on shrooms. I am not. This is just how I am. Enter the paleontologist Pope, Charles Darwin. Chuck, as nobody called him. So, Charles, who had made a name for himself by going on paid workations, documenting life forms, theorizing evolutionary processes, right? Mapping all of life's possible relationships, and also taste testing them. Did we know this? Yeah. He taste tested many of the species he sampled on his gap year, I guess. He tried out puma, iguanas, armadillos, giant tortoises, rodents, and so much more. Anyway, flowering plants and its evolution, or apparent lack thereof, left Charlie Chuck Darwin completely daisied and confused.
Hey.
Thank you. So in 1879, Darwin wrote a letter to his closest friend, botanist and explorer, Dr. Joseph Hooker. He wrote, "The rapid development, as far as we can judge, of all the higher plants," which is what he called flowering plants, within recent geological times is an abominable mystery. Guys, he was gagged. So today, angiosperms or flowering plants make up the vast majority of all known living plants, like oaks, wildflowers, water lilies. In the fossil record, they appeared basically suddenly in the Cretaceous at about 100 million years ago. And prior to that, there didn't seem to be anything that looked like an angiosperm. Then suddenly they appeared, and when dinos died, they just bloomed into this impressive diversity of life, helping pollinators and mammals thrive with them. So Darwin spent a lot of his life deeply bothered by how flowering plants seemingly evolved out of nowhere at the blink of an eye, while other large groups, like mammals, evolved gradually. So Darwin liked long, slow walks on the evolutionary beach, you guys. He wasn't a fan of Tinder evolution. That is what I learned. And so the phrase abominable mystery became the paleobotanist's calling card. Very dramatic. Now, to finish this all off, I just want to shout out how much of a drama queen Darwin was. Here are some of my favorite quotes from his past writing. Okay. It's like confessing a murder. Okay. In a private letter to botanist Joseph Dalton Hooker on January 1844, Darwin conveyed how scandalous and puzzling the idea of evolution felt by comparing it to a heinous crime. And after years of gathering evidence in secret, he admitted to Hooker, "I am almost convinced, quite contrary to the opinion I started with, that species are not, it is like confessing a murder, immutable." Gag. By saying that embracing species change was like confessing a murder, Darwin highlighted the taboo and shock surrounding the transmutation of species in 1844. Okay, next one that I really enjoyed, absurd in the highest possible degree. Okay, so this was about discussing the evolution of extremely complex organs. Darwin used the striking language to contextualize it. On The Origin of Species in 1859, he confronts the evolution of the eye. Darwin writes that to suppose that the eye, with all its inimitable contrivances for adjusting focus, could have been formed by natural selection seems, I freely confess, absurd in the highest possible degree. Gag. Okay. And then this is another one that I also enjoyed. Insuperable and actually fatal to my whole theory. My God. So Darwin described the problem of sterile worker insects in social species, and it absolutely baffled him that they could exist. So on The Origin of Species, he also writes, "I will confine myself to one special difficulty, which at first appeared to me insuperable, and actually fatal to my whole theory. I allude to the neuters or sterile females in insect communities." Okay, sir. The puzzle is clear. How can natural selection favor traits in individuals that do not reproduce? If worker ants or bees can't pass on their traits, it appears impossible for those traits to evolve by selection. How dare a feminist? But this is probably my absolute favorite gag quote of Darwin. "The sight of a feather in a peacock's tail makes me sick." Gagged. All right. Darwin even used passionate language to describe his frustration with traits that seemed evolutionarily inexplicable. In a letter to the American botanist Asa Gray in April 1860, Darwin wrote, "The sight of a feather in a peacock's tail, whenever I gaze at it, makes me sick." This startling statement came shortly after Origin was published because Darwin was grappling with criticisms and unsolved problems in his theory. So the peacock's extravagant tail was a prime example of a puzzling aspect of evolution. Like, how could a seemingly impractical feature, large, colorful plumage that might hinder survival, evolve under natural selection? It just didn't fit his simple notion of survival advantage. So he exclaimed that and convinced, and he also conveyed how much genuine exasperation he had at this mystery of plumage. And so finally, I just wanted to celebrate just how cool angiosperms were, because it was one of the last things that befuddled Charlie Darwin. In August 1881, only months before his death, he wrote to Hooker, "Nothing is more extraordinary in the history of the vegetable kingdom, as it seems to me, than the apparently very sudden or abrupt development of higher plants. I have sometimes speculated whether there did not exist somewhere during long ages an extremely isolated continent, perhaps near the South Pole, where they might have originated." And that is my time. Thank you, everybody.